Okay, Steve Morgan here for Fishing Monthly Magazines, and I'm talking to Fred Goh from Singapore. And Fred, you are the expert on this Gomoku-style fishing. Just basically, can you tell my readers what it's all about?
Well, the Gomoku fishing is a kind of a concept that's new with regards to jigging. Well, most of you will associate that jigging is usually like you need the heavier stuff, heavy jigs and manly. But the sad thing is that a lot of people will not be able to handle that kind of tackle for a long period of time. And so what we are doing for Gomoku is that we are downsizing the jigs, including the tackle that is going to be used for Gomoku jigging. And Gomoku itself is a Japanese word that is like playing a game of chess. So along with the rods, we have the different kind of jigs that to target different kind of species and in different kind of situations. So you can have jigs that is as light as 8 grams right up to about 120 grams to 150 grams, and they come in all shapes and sizes with different actions. So this is how the concept of Gomoku comes about.
So, as an Aussie now, I'm thinking Gomoku is light style jigging, and I suppose that means you don't have to do it offshore anymore. You can do it inshore in the estuaries and in the light inshore areas. So we've got some of the Gomoku rods here, and they look quite unique. Can you just take us through one of these Gomoku rods and tell us what's different from a normal lure fishing rod?
Yes, first you notice that besides the funky colors that you have from the Gomoku rods, you notice that the rod, the butt is pretty long.
Yes.
That's allowed you for you to actually to hold it under the butt if you are vertical jigging. But likewise, if you are actually casting from the shore, you can treat it as the casting rods. And the main difference that you can notice that the guides in the front are very small. We are basically using the new Fuji KR concept guides. Okay, what is the Fuji KR concept guides is that they try to put the line as close as to the blank of the rod, such that you feel the sensitiveness of the rod. And this is why the Gomoku, besides the handle and the guides, and the last thing that you have is the taper of the rod. As you can see, the tip is sensitive, and yet you have a very strong butt in case you hook up a big fish.
So you can lean on a big fish with these rods, just like the offshore jigging rods, and have some real hurt on that fish.
That's right, mate. Perfectly correct. Yes, that's the fun of it. That's the fun about using the Gomoku rods, and of course you need the light tips to work the jigs, especially if they're light, very light jigs, and in a fast current with the heavy setup, you find that it's very difficult to work with. But with the Gomoku rods and the KR concept, you can feel the jigs, and once the fish hit it, you're able to set the hook, and with the strong butt, you're able to handle big fish, even on this kind of light tackle.
I noticed these K-style guides close to the bank. Are they specifically designed for PE braided lines, or could you use normal monofilament or fluorocarbon on them as well?
Yes, you can use fluorocarbon as well. Basically, if you can run through the monofilament or fluorocarbon straight through it without a leader. But I guess the most anglers face the problem is that how if I were to tie on a thicker leader, because of the small leader guides, a lot of people may think that the knot may not go through. Yes, there is a challenge. So the kind of guides, or rather the kind of knots that we recommend, is that you can use either the PR or the FG knot.
Yes.
And you can use what the Australians call it the Slim Beauty.
Yes.
Yes, these two kinds of knots are highly recommended, be it you are using the monofilament as the main line, or the PE line or the braided line as the main line. Yep. So with that kind of knots, you simply have no trouble getting the knots through the KR guides, which is very small, I would say.
And that's good, because Australians just love using braid, and Australians are very good at tying those knots together. So I'm sure our readers are going to have no problems taking their normal fishing style from their normal spin rods to this Gomoku concept.
That's right, Steve. I totally agree. I think Australian anglers, they have the knowledge, and they will feel more confident. And after I've explained to them what the kind of knots to use, they will feel that there's a lot of fun factor in using such light rods to tackle the big fish. Yep, and I feel that you just need to match the right poundage of the leader and versus the braid. So you wouldn't need a very heavy braid like 50 pounds or 80 pounds anymore. Basically, for the heavier jigs, we are talking about maybe 30-pound braided line, and the leader could be as light as 30 pounds or even 40 pounds. and we have the lighter setup. We can go as low as 6 pound with the 6 pound braided line, and the leader could be about 15 to 20 pound.
Now, Fred, I notice you've got a box full of lures here, and there are some of these light jigging lures I'm pretty intrigued by. Can you show us what you mean by these Gomoku concept lures?
Now, basically, what we have right now is what we call a micro jig. This particular one weighs about 12 grams. It has a very small profile, and what we do is that to rig it up nicely, we have 2 assist hook, and I like to use things like this, the tinsers or the flashaboo, so that it kind of like you have the extra advantage, like the fooling the fish, thinking that this could be some anchovies and things like that, or small little white fish. And what you do is that we have 2 of these assist hook, and then we have the tiny little swivel and a split ring. So the split ring will host the jig onto the rig, and what you do is from the leader, you just need to tie to the swivel and you can fish. One of the main reasons that I do not use a treble at the bottom is that if you are fishing in very rocky grounds or very shallow reef, the treble usually will get you snagged up, and that's not really good. So having this kind of setup will give you less chances of being snagged up.
Fred, this is only quite a small bait fish representation, so I assume you could catch any of our Australian fish on that. You could catch flathead, tailor, Australian salmon, trout. Yes. The concept is limited only by the number of fish that's going to eat a bait fish that big, isn't it?
That's right, you're right, perfectly correct. Yes, as I explained earlier, we have different kind of jigs, and they match the different kind of bait fish and according to the species that you're going for. Even sometimes the skipjack tuners, they are feeding on very small stuff, and that's where you can actually cast this micro jig into the school and
wind it back,
and they will hit it, and you can have a lot of fun with the rod on the tuner.
Fred, this micro jig, they're only quite light. What's the shallowest water you could catch fish in? Would you go out and fish in 10 foot of water for flathead, for instance? Like, this isn't limited to deep water, is it?
No, it's not limited to deep water. Yes, good question. Yes, you can actually use it like in very shallow waters, like 3 meters up to 5 meters. The important thing is that you have to understand when you work the jig, how would you want to work it to give you the best chance to mimic the kind of bait that the fish is feeding. Like, for example, we talk about the Australian flathead. I will sink this thing down to the bottom, and I will have a short few flicks that you wind out, and this thing will flutter down. Yes, and probably when it flutters down onto the sandy ground, it kind of like gives the sand a puff effect, and probably if the flathead is nearby, you will come and inspect and have a few flick, and boom, bang.
We all know a flathead likes to eat something that's flicking off the bottom, yes.
That's right, yes. So I believe that even in very shallow waters, you can actually still use that micro jig.
Now, Fred, we've talked about 2 styles now. You could cast them into a school of tuna. You can sink it to the bottom and flick it off the bottom. Are there any mid-water style techniques you can use with these Gomoku jigs? Yes,
you can do that. Mainly, you will find that for the mid-water, what we do is that if you find a school or maybe like trevallies that's feeding on the mid-water, you want to sink down the jig down, and you kind of like having very fast ripping, jigging,
rip, then sink it back down again.
You wouldn't want to pull out the jig all the way up because you know they're feeding in the middle. So you just want to rip past that school or the depth where they're feeding,
and then flutter it back
down again, and you rip up again. And this kind of like fluttering and moving action, you kind of like trigger the trevallies to bite because it looks like a wounded bait fish.
Yes.
So there's various applications for the Gomoku jigs and the concept, because you can fish deep, you can fish the mid, and you can cast even into the tuna school, which is just slightly below the surface. The thing about Gomoku is that there's no right, there's no wrong. It's all about fun, it's all about trying. You just need to find the correct rhythm and the correct kind of speed that the species that you are targeting that will bite.
Fred, I'm looking through your box and I see a lot of small lures. like small poppers, small little floating stick baits. Are they Gomoku concept, or are they just other cool lures you've got stuck in your box there?
Well, this is kind of like a pre-release secret that I'm
Yes.
going to share with you.
Good.
We had a lot of success with Gomoku jigging, and now we are applying to Gomoku lures, which means it's like casting lures. So using the same concept, that we will actually come up with a series of Gomoku micro lures.
Yes.
Like the one that I'm holding is a popper.
Yes, a little
And,
cup face popper here.
Yeah, and a
what
cup
else
face
is there?
popper. And the other one is like a tiny little pencil.
Yes, a little
Yeah.
stick bait. That's a floating lure, a top water walk the dog bait. Yes,
That's right. It's a floating lure.
Yes.
A top water bait, a walker dog. And along with it, we will have things like the Gomoku bottom, which it looks like a tiny little stream bed, and
Yes.
kind of like sinks down this way to
Wow.
the bottom.
That's like a cross between a plastic vibe and a metal vibe. That it's got
That's
got a
right.
weight on the nose.
Yeah.
And that's something that I haven't seen before in this country. So
Yeah, if you look carefully, it could even resemble like a normal squid
yes,
lure.
Yes.
Of course, is equipped with a single hook. Yeah, but yes, this something is very, very different from the ordinary lures that you have. So you fish this on the bottom, you hop it. And we have also the all very popular the Gomoku minnow.
yes,
Yes, as
So
you notice,
that's a little bib minnow floats or sinks.
it kind of suspend.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like it's a suspending jib bait. Yeah,
Yeah.
but if you notice all the lures that I have shown you, basically they are very small,
Yes.
very small. And again, it's like we are trying to bring the fun factor to Gomoku. And I'm pretty sure for Australian fishing, the popular bream will be a very good target for this kind of fishing.
Most definitely. Brim loves small lures, and you've got great range of small lures that I know a lot of brim fishermen in this country would kill you to get their hands on at the moment. Because what brim like is something they haven't seen before, and I guarantee they haven't seen any of that before.
That's good news for us.
Okay, Fred, this is big jigging gear downsized for fun. Tell us about some of the serious fish you've caught on this sort of gear. What's your biggest fish you've caught on one of these Gomoku rods?
Wow, it's a tough question because I've caught quite a fair bit of big fishes on the Gomoku rods. But I distinctly remember I had a GT close to 10 kilos. It was on a 10-pound braid
Yes.
and only a 20-pound leader. And it's one of the Gomoku series, rated at P0.8,
Wow.
1.5. So in American rating is about the 815 rod.
Yes.
Yeah, it took me about 20 minutes, but I managed to land the GT.
And that's what it's all about. A lot of fun. I bet you had a lot of fun catching that fish.
Oh yes, definitely. It gives a lot of excitement. As in, like, you are able to handle the tackle, you are able to jig whole day, and yet when something big fish actually hit your jig, you are like on the brink of like losing that fish or winning the fish, or losing the battle or winning the battle. So there is a lot of things going on while you're fighting the fish. But I really thank God that at the end I managed to land the fish, and I had a lot of fun fishing for big fish using very light tackle.
Fred, thanks very much for coming to the after show. Thanks very much for talking to Fishing Monthly magazines about the Gomoku concept, and I'm sure it's going to go really well over here. Thanks for spending the time with me.
Thanks, mate. My pleasure.